Level 1. The Watcher. Nobody told you to quit school, but the choice made itself. You are 14 years old, living in a neighborhood where the cartel controls every single block. Your mother works 2 jobs, cleaning houses, making less in a month than what the older guys standing on the corner make in a week. You start hanging around them. You don't ask to join because that's disrespectful. You just exist, running to the store when they need cigarettes and watching their backs. Eventually, they give you a phone. The Plaza boss needs eyes everywhere, and that is you. You are a Halcón, a lookout. You sit on a plastic chair outside a convenience store, given a Coke and one simple job: watch the road. The instructions are burned into your memory. You look for unmarked cars, slow drivers, anyone with a camera, military plates, or police uniforms. If you see military trucks, you text a bird emoji. If you see black SUVs with tiny windows, you text a snake. That means a rival cartel. You work 12-hour shifts with no breaks, getting paid 200 pesos a day in cash, and the other guys don't even look at you. You are just furniture to them. You watch a house 3 doors down where you can smell the sweet and chemical scent of crystal meth being processed. One day, a convoy of Marines rolls through. They can't be bought. You freeze and forget to send the warning. 30 seconds later, your phone explodes with messages, and a man appears next to you. He doesn't yell. He just looks at you and tells you that next time, they will bury you in the desert. You never forget again. Your little brother asked you for help with his homework yesterday, but you didn't know the answers because you stopped going to class 3 months ago. But he's wearing the shoes he wanted, so you tell yourself the trade is worth it. Level 2. The Transporter. You're 17 now. A man approaches you at a gas station and asks if you know how to drive. You say yes, and he tells you to show up at a warehouse on the south side at 6 a.m. the next morning. When you arrive, there is a white semi-truck loaded with hundreds of watermelons. Underneath those watermelons, welded into the floor, is 500 kilograms of methamphetamine. Your job is to move the product, and you don't ask questions. The first time you drive across the military checkpoint, you think you're going to vomit. They stop every 5th vehicle, so you learn to count the cars. Today, your car is number 6, and they wave you through. Your hands are shaking, and your heart is hammering so hard you can hear it in your ears. You park at a destination warehouse, and a man you don't know hands you a thick envelope. It's more cash than you have ever held in your life. You hide 30,000 pesos inside a hollowed-out Bible at your grandmother's house, telling her you work doing deliveries for a phone company. You do it again next week and the week after. You make 6 runs this month, and each time you tell yourself it's the last time. Your cousin got caught doing this exact job and is serving 20 years in prison. He told you to stop while you can. You think about that sometimes. Every trip is Russian roulette, and eventually the chamber won't be empty. But the work becomes routine, and you stop being scared, which is exactly when people get sloppy. You touch the thick envelope of cash in your pocket, realize working 40 hours a week for minimum wage seems insane now, and you keep driving. Greed makes people stupid, and the trap is closing, but you can't see it yet. Level 3. The Enforcer. You're 19 and you have survived longer than most. You've been driving for 2 years with no arrests, proving you are reliable. Now they give you a gun and a list of addresses. They don't call you a sicario. That word is for the movies. You're an enforcer, a problem solver, and the solution is violence. Your first job is to collect the monthly tax. Business owners in the plaza pay for protection. It's not optional. A taco stand pays 500, a pharmacy pays 2,000, and a nightclub pays 10,000. Most people pay without issue because they know the rules, but there is always someone who thinks they're smart. When a restaurant owner tells you he can't pay this month, you nod and leave. You come back that night with 2 other guys, smash every window, break every table, and beat the owner unconscious in his own kitchen. The next month he pays double. Then come the targeted hits. You have lost count of the bodies. The first one was the hardest, mostly because your hand was shaking so much you nearly missed. The second was easier, and by the third, you didn't feel anything. That's when you knew you were good at this. They give you an encrypted message with a photo, an address, and a time frame, but never an explanation. You wait outside a gym at 6 a.m. for a state prosecutor. He comes out in running clothes, earbuds in, completely unaware. You walk up like you're asking for directions and put 2 shots into his head. You are back on your motorcycle before anyone even screams. Your heart doesn't even race anymore. You buy a used BMW and get your mother a house in a gated community. She cries and doesn't ask where the money comes from. And the neighbors think you're an import-export guy. You stare at a photo of a 16-year-old rival scout you have to kill tonight, and you feel absolutely nothing. Level 4, the cell leader. You are 25 years old now, and you run a cell of 10 men. Your job is simple: move product and protect your territory. The cartel supplies you with 100 kilos of cocaine every month. You break it down, sell it to distributors, send the money up the chain, and keep 10%. That puts $50,000 to $100,000 a month directly in your pocket. But you are managing chaos. Your men are young and stupid. They get high on their own supply, start fights, and attract unwanted attention. You have to enforce discipline. Sometimes that means a conversation, sometimes a severe beating, and sometimes it just means a bullet. You are also responsible for security. When a rival crew tries to move into your plaza and kills one of your lookouts, you don't wait for orders. You send 6 guys with AK-47s into a bar to open fire. 12 people die, 5 of them civilians, making international news. The government promises justice, but the local police commander gets 30,000 pesos a month on time, and the governor is on the payroll, so absolutely nothing happens. You live well. You have a house with a pool, and a girlfriend who thinks you own a construction company. But the pressure from above is crushing. The regional boss always wants more money, and if you don't deliver, you are replaced. And in this world, replacement is permanent. You learn that territory isn't given, it is held. And the very moment you stop defending it, it is gone. Level 5, the financial controller. You are 29 and you've proven yourself on the streets, but the boss sees you understand numbers. You are promoted to cartel operator, a financial controller. You never touch methamphetamine or cocaine. Your product is spreadsheets. The cartel generates tens of millions annually, and that money can't just sit in a safe, it needs to be cleaned. You turn millions of pesos of blood money into legitimate, wealthy money. Your office overlooks the ocean, featuring glass walls and leather chairs. You wear tailored suits and meet with bankers who know exactly what you are, but the money is far too good for them to care. You fund restaurant chains, car washes, and a construction company building a resort, all financed by cocaine, but the paperwork tells a completely different story. You build a financial structure so complex, using shell companies in Panama, cryptocurrency, and real estate through offshore trusts, that investigators need warrants in 6 countries to follow one single transaction. One day, a contact in the prosecutor's office, who you pay $10,000 a month, warns you that the DEA is investigating one of your companies. Before the investigation goes public, you move fast. You dissolve the entire entity in 48 hours, move the assets through 3 different countries, and create new corporations with different names. By the time they get their warrant, they find empty offices and disconnected phones. You brief the boss over lunch at an expensive restaurant, and he nods. That nod means you are indispensable. But you also know that being valuable today means you are a liability tomorrow. You are protected only as long as you are useful. Because of this, you secretly keep 3 passports under fake names, offshore accounts, and property in countries without extradition, just in case. Level 6, the Plaza boss. You are 35, and you run the entire state. Every drug shipment, every murder, and every bribe goes through you. You have 500 men working under you, and you generate $20 million a month for the cartel. But you are a ghost. The public doesn't know your face, you don't do interviews, and you live in a compound in the mountains surrounded by 20-foot walls, armed guards, and attack dogs. Your work is now politics. You negotiate with other cartels to avoid unnecessary wars, and you meet with governors and generals. You don't threaten them directly, you make them an offer they can't refuse. A suitcase with $2 million or a share of the profits. Most of them take it. The ones who refuse are exposed with photos of mistresses, their careers destroyed, and if they still refuse, they simply disappear. You manage logistics on a massive global scale. Cocaine from Colombia, precursor chemicals from China, submarines, tunnels under the border, and drones. You are making $1 million a month personally, but the money is just a number on a screen. You have everything you could want, but nothing you actually need. You can't go to your daughter's quinceañera because it's too dangerous, and you can't visit your mother's grave because snipers might be waiting for you. You live in a golden cage, and the paranoia is eating you alive. You realize your head of security might be working for the DEA, or your right-hand man might be planning a coup. You sleep 4 hours a night and trust absolutely no one, executing 2 of your own men based on suspicion alone because it's better to be safe than sorry. Level 7, the cartel leader. You built this empire from dirt. You climb from a poor farm boy to the most powerful criminal in the Western Hemisphere. Your organization moves 100 tons of cocaine a year. You have operational cells in 15 countries, and you control politicians in 6 different states. You are worth $3 billion. But your name is on every wanted list in the world. The US government has a $10 million bounty on your head, and Mexican special forces are actively hunting you. You haven't seen daylight without armed guards in years. You move between safe houses every 3 days and communicate through encrypted messages that are destroyed after being read. You have had plastic surgery twice, and your own children don't even recognize you anymore. You sit in a war room with maps covering 3 walls. You negotiate with the leaders of other cartels, dividing up Mexico. You get your territory, they get theirs, everyone makes money, and everyone stays alive. But it never lasts. Someone always gets greedy. War breaks out, hundreds die, and towns become battlefields. You are listening to your lieutenants debate whether to launch a full-scale war or negotiate a truce, and your silence fills the room. You can't stop. If you try to retire, your own people will kill you because you know too much and are far too dangerous to be left alive. You watch the news as the government celebrates a raid on your product, but you know they are just fighting shadows. The real question isn't whether the government will stop you, it's how long you can keep this going before your own people turn against you, or before time simply runs out. You've seen it happen to everyone before you. They all end up either dead or in prison. Level 8, the end. Every empire ends the same way. You were untouchable until today. The helicopters come at dawn. The military and federal forces have been hunting you for years, and today they came prepared. Gunfire erupts, your security detail engages, and you grab your rifle. But it's over. They capture you alive. Now you are in a cell at ADX Florence Supermax in Colorado. You spend 23 hours a day in total isolation, surrounded by concrete walls and a steel door with no windows. You will die here. There is no escape, no bribery works, and no army can break you out. You had billions, you had an international empire, and you made governments afraid. Now you have 4 concrete walls and the rest of your life to think about every single person you killed to get there. You trade your freedom for temporary cash and power, and now you are left with absolutely nothing. But the cartel doesn't die with you. Your ambitious lieutenant or your nephew steps up to take your place. The drugs keep flowing across the border, the money keeps washing through the banks, and the bodies keep piling up in the streets because the cycle never ends. You were the absolute king, and now you are just a ghost story. A cautionary tale that parents tell their kids about what happens when you get too greedy and think you're untouchable. Meanwhile, back in your old neighborhood, there's a new 14-year-old kid sitting on a plastic chair outside a convenience store. He's watching the road. He's holding a phone. He's hungry. He sees himself in the older guys with money, and he's waiting for his chance. And the machine keeps running.